Raise your hand if you've ever been stuck in a conversation where you just ran out of things to say. You try to impress them with stories about your job, your hobbies, your weekend, but it just makes them check their phones or make an excuse to leave early. Or worse, you end up asking the most boring questions ever. How are you? What do you do? Nice weather, huh? And before you know it, the conversation dies, and you're left wondering, why do people never seem to like talking to me? Why do awkward silences always pop up the second small talk starts? Why can some people chat effortlessly with anyone they meet, while you struggle to keep a conversation going? Well, today we're breaking down exactly how to fix that. We're talking about the hidden psychology behind why the right questions can make people instantly warm up to you and feel connected deep down. By the end of this video, you'll know how to turn cringy, awkward small talk into meaningful conversations people actually remember. You'll also master the simple skills to make almost anyone feel like you're their favorite person to talk to. No fake charm, no pickup lines, just pure psychological communication hacks. Let's get into it. Let's start with a quick mental experiment. Think back to the last boring conversation you had. Was the other person just rambling non-stop about themselves? I went to the gym. I bought a new car. I thought that movie was bad. Me. That's called self-display. It automatically builds an invisible wall between two people. It makes others feel unheard and unimportant. Conversations that make people feel addicted and drawn to you, on the other hand, are all about self-discovery, letting them open up, reflect on themselves, and share what truly matters to them. There's a powerful psychological concept called the disclosure reciprocity effect. When someone shares their true feelings, hidden dreams, or even their soft vulnerabilities in front of you, their brain creates a natural illusion. They feel this sense of comfort and openness is all because you are special and trustworthy. Here's the game, changing secret. You don't need to tell endless interesting stories to impress them. You don't need to be the funniest or most entertaining person in the room. You just need to be the person holding the flashlight, illuminating the messy, fuzzy thoughts hidden deep in their own mind. Most small talk dies for one simple reason. We stop at the first one, word answer. When someone says, I'm a teacher, or I work in marketing, or I like hiking, most people just reply with a lazy, oh, nice, and immediately run out of things to say. The trick here is simple. Take their short one-line answer and dig one level deeper, but not in a creepy, interrogative way that makes them feel pressured. Instead of just blandly acknowledging their answer, you ask a thoughtful question that invites them to share a personal story, not just a cold fact. So instead of a flat, oh, nice, you can say something like, that's awesome. What's the most interesting thing that's happened to you at work lately? Or if they mention they love hiking, oh, I love hiking too. What's the most breathtaking view you've ever seen on a trail? These questions work perfectly because they turn a generic casual answer into a heartfelt personal story. And it's always real stories and emotions that build genuine connection between people. First, let's break down why this method works so well. There's another key psychological concept called the mirroring effect. And here's the most important takeaway. People don't remember exactly what you said to them. They remember how you made them feel when talking to you. When you ask someone a sincere, thoughtful question, you're sending them a clear, silent message. I see you. I'm truly interested in you. I care about what you have to say. And that's one of the most attractive, powerful things you can do in any conversation. Psychological studies even prove that when people talk about their own thoughts, experiences, and feelings, their brains release the same pleasure chemicals as eating delicious chocolate or getting paid. So when you let them take the spotlight and open up freely, you're basically giving them an instant social dopamine hit. They'll automatically associate good feelings with being around you. Here's the biggest mistake almost everyone makes in communication. They try hard to be interesting instead of choosing to be interested. They waste all their energy preparing funny stories, cool life facts, and impressive achievements, thinking this is how to make people like them. But the honest truth is, people don't grow attached to how interesting you are. They grow attached to how deeply interested you are in them. So your goal in a conversation is never to show off or impress others. It's to make them feel like the most valued, important person in the room, even if it's just for a few minutes. And asking the right questions is the easiest, most natural way to pull this off. Now, here's a critical point. Not all questions are created equal. A boring, generic question can kill a conversation just as fast as staying silent. Lazy small talk questions put people on autopilot and shut down real connection instantly. So I'm going to share 3 foolproof question formulas that work in almost every scenario. Whether you're on a first date, hanging out at a party, chatting with strangers, or even making small talk with a coworker you barely know, these are my daily go. Toss for breaking awkward silence and building instant rapport. First formula, ask about feelings, not cold facts. Most people default to factual questions. What did you do this weekend? The typical reply is always, nothing much, just relaxed. And the conversation ends right there. Try this emotional version instead. What was one small moment this weekend where you felt genuinely calm and relaxed? See the huge difference. What did you do is like reading a resume, cold, empty data. What moment felt relaxing is like watching a short movie, full of emotion and vivid details. When they start describing that quiet morning with sunlight streaming through the window while drinking coffee, or a peaceful walk in the park, their brain generates warm, happy images. Subconsciously, they will link that sense of peace and joy directly to you. Second formula, the positive assumption, the ideal self question. If you want to truly know someone's hidden ambitions and inner dreams, never ask negative, pushy questions like, what worries you about the future? It instantly puts them on guard. Instead, use this gentle opener. If money and other people's judgments didn't matter at all, what would you really want to spend your days doing? This is absolute gold. Deep down, everyone has an ideal self buried and suppressed by real-life pressure and responsibilities. When you give them permission to dream freely without judgment, they instantly feel you're a safe, thoughtful, big-picture person. They'll become animated, passionate, and excited while talking, and they'll unconsciously attribute that positive mood to your presence. Third formula, the most powerful one of all, the vulnerability invitation. If you want to build deep, long-lasting connection and make people truly comfortable around you, you have to be willing to gently touch their hidden regrets and growth moments. But your word choice makes all the difference. Don't ask bluntly, what do you regret in life? It sounds heavy, intrusive, and makes people defensive right away. Use this soft, clever version instead. If you had a time machine and could go back 5 years to give your younger self one sincere piece of advice, what would it be? This question is brilliant because it's not focused on pain or mistakes. It's focused on growth, wisdom, and self-compassion. They might say, I tell myself not to stress over small things, or spend more quality time with my family while I can. At that moment, don't interrupt, don't judge, don't jump in with your own story. Just nod gently and say, it sounds like you've grown so much and come a long way since then. That one simple line melts down all their emotional defenses instantly. Remember, the core of deep human connection isn't being perfect. It's letting each other be imperfect. Asking great questions is only half the battle. If you don't know how to listen properly, you'll ruin every good conversation before it even starts. Here's what most people do wrong. While the other person is talking, they're not listening at all. They're frantically overthinking. What should I say next? How do I respond? Most people are just patiently waiting for their turn to speak, instead of truly absorbing what the other person is sharing. And trust me, people can always tell when you're just pretending to listen. A perfect follow-up question proves you're paying attention to every little detail they just shared. You're not just firing off generic scripted questions, you're responding directly to their own words. If they mention they had an exhausting, stressful week, don't just throw out a lazy, that sucks. Instead, ask, what was the hardest part about that whole week for you? If they say they're planning an upcoming trip, don't just say, have fun, ask, what's one thing you're most excited to do and experience there? This is the secret to making people feel you genuinely care about them, not just making empty small talk. It's this kind of heartfelt conversation that people remember long after it's over. And to level up your listening game instantly, use my simple 3-step listening method. Step 1. Repeat their emotional keyword. When someone says, "Work has been so stressful lately, I feel like I'm drowning under all the pressure," don't cut in with, "Yeah, me too, I get it." Instead, say, "You said you're drowning. How long have you been carrying that heavy feeling?" Repeating their exact words proves you're fully present and actually heard them. Step 2, label their emotion accurately. Say things like, "It sounds like you're feeling really frustrated because your hard work keeps going unnoticed." Or, "That must feel pretty helpless and overwhelming for you, right?" When you correctly name their inner emotion, they'll feel like you can read their mind. This is called the affect labeling effect. It instantly calms their anxiety and makes them feel understood. Step 3, the most magical rule: embrace comfortable silence. When they finish sharing a deep thought or feeling, don't rush to fill the quiet gap immediately. Even just 2 seconds of pause makes them feel you're truly digesting their words and respecting their feelings. More often than not, they'll open up even deeper and share something they rarely tell others. One critical rule to follow: resist the urge to immediately jump in and share your similar experience. If they talk about a breakup or a loss, don't instantly start rambling about your ex or your own pain. They are the protagonist of the conversation in that moment. Never steal their spotlight. Now we've talked about all the winning conversation moves. Let's cover the big losing questions you should absolutely avoid at all costs first. How much money do you make? This crosses a huge personal boundary and makes people instantly uncomfortable. If you're curious about their career, rephrase it to, "What excites you the most about your industry and job?" Always ask about passion and value, not cold numbers second. Why aren't you married or in a relationship yet? This question carries obvious implicit judgment. The other person will instantly get defensive and think it's none of your business. If you truly care about their love life, ask, "What does your ideal relationship and partnership look like to you?" This invites them to dream, not defend themselves. Finally, the absolute worst phrase you can use: "Do you know what I mean?" The hidden subtext here is, "Are you smart enough to understand me?" It's rude, condescending, and deeply disrespectful. If you want to check if they follow your words, rephrase it politely. "Am I making sense? Or did I explain that clearly enough?" Taking responsibility for being clear instantly boosts your charisma. Please don't treat these skills as cheap manipulative tricks or fake social hacks. Real charm and likability always come from genuine curiosity about the person sitting in front of you. When you walk into any conversation with the simple intention of, "I want to understand your story, your thoughts, and your soul," even if you stumble over your words occasionally, people will still feel your sincere goodwill. At the end of the day, the best conversation questions aren't about being clever, fancy, or perfectly scripted. They're about being fully present. You don't need to memorize a long list of prepared questions. All you need is natural curiosity. Notice the tiny little details they mention, ask follow-ups on those small things, listen far more than you speak, and always treat their stories and feelings like they truly matter. Because they do, when you master this simple mindset and skill set, people won't just tolerate talking to you. They'll actively look forward to chatting with you, opening up to you, and keeping you close. That's the kind of genuine likability that lasts a lifetime. Now I want to hear from you down in the comments. What's the best question someone has ever asked you? One that instantly made you feel truly seen, understood, and cared for. Drop it below. I read every single comment personally. If you found this video helpful and these communication tips useful, hit the like button to share it with more people who struggle with awkward small talk. Subscribe to my channel for more practical psychology, social skills, and conversation tips every single week. Thanks so much for watching today. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.